Hello, everyone, and welcome to a signed-filled episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 Fancast. I'm your host, Havocpuss, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Frozen Creek.
Hello. I am not a new signing, but I did find something on something fun and interesting on the League of Legends subreddit last night.
Oh yeah, what'd you find out?
Did you see that MS Paint photo of Lulu?
No, I think I might have. Let me see if I can find it.
Or where she ate a little too much purple?
I maybe skimmed that, but I didn't pay attention to it enough to note it.
It's a piece of art.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it, but I didn't. Oh, why? Why does
I
she
don't
look
know.
like this?
I just saw it and I loved it because it kind of looks like an Adventure Time character almost, but Lulu and abs. It was super long.
This is so cursed. She has these little stick arms that are way too long for her body.
Extremely long and hair that literally is like a wedding dress length.
She has this face that she just is so done with life. She looks so
She hasn't
disappointed in
slept in 2
everything.
days.
She hasn't slept. She looks like she's just completely given up on living and wants to just cease to exist. I both love it and hate it at the same exact time.
It's the epitome of artwork or fan art for League of Legends. So that's all to what I wanted to talk about today. So now that that's out of the way, or we can talk about more important things.
Yeah, we can talk about
Or
some
less
Cloud9
important things, I
things.
guess.
I have just a couple of results that kind of go. We have mostly like a bunch of signing news. Like C9's been writing checks apparently, but before we get to that, Rainbow Six did go 1-1 last week. They played against Fnatic and Fave Gaming. The Fave Gaming loss I think was close, but we beat Fnatic. The team's still looking pretty good. I think we're looking good going into whenever the next, I guess, APAC major is. Also, WoW finished 3rd place in the BFA circuit, which is kind of surprising considering how good the WoW team is. But I think top 3, getting 3rd place is still good, all things considered.
Yeah, I'm assuming someone practiced their comp a little.
Someone
than
practiced how to counter
our
our
Druid
one
Warlock
strategy.
made. Yeah, unlucky, I guess.
Yeah, very unlucky. I think 3rd place is still good. The WoW team is good. I know that not a lot of people watch them, but they're a really nice bunch of guys, and they are also very good at playing WoW. So it's really great, and I hope that next time they play, whenever that is, I honestly have no idea, but whenever next they play, I hope that they can do better than 3rd place. But moving on to we have a bunch of signings, and I wanted to start with this one first because it was so weird. We have now rounded out our 5-man Fortnite North American squad. And it consists of Avery, Nosh, Chap, Vivid, and Freist. And you and I both are kind of perplexed by this, Frozen, because it's so weird to see us not only diving back into the North American Fortnite scene, but to commit a total of 5 people to it.
Yeah, I feel it's just a little bit weird to me, I guess. Why do we need 5? Maybe they're planning on having one person go solo and then one 4-man team.
I'm not sure how Fortnite events work. I would assume, I think how Fortnite works at least, it's probably they'll have 2 people for duos, and then they'll have 3 for doing trio runs. At least that's how I think Fortnite events work, unless they've completely changed that. And you can just do a 5-man. You can just go to tournaments and do 5-man events and stuff. I honestly do not know.
Yeah, like, are they gonna make enough to warrant signing 5 guys to Fortnite? Do people still even play Fortnite?
I think people still play Fortnite. I think the issue is that their esports scene never got off the ground. Like, I think the the only battle royale game that has managed to actually make the right moves and get their esports scene to a place where it's somewhat thriving is probably PUBG. Fortnite, they tried, but in the midst of all these like really big super cash prize events, like they were so sprinkled out that it was not enough to keep the scene alive. And then you had like Apex Legends, where the development company behind it just did not care about the more professional side of things at all. So they just let that game pretty much just die competitively. H1Z1 pretty much got overshadowed by better games. The battle royale scene is just kind of fraught with these games that pop up, and if people play it, they'll play it for a little while, but until the next thing comes along, you're kind of it. And if you don't seem to like care enough about your scene to really like, no, we're gonna really try to cultivate this, like at least like with what PUBG has done, your competitive scene will just kind of die and no one will really care anymore.
Yeah, and I have to imagine they know more about the scene than we do. But it just seems kind of random to me to get this now. But maybe there's something big coming up. Do we always signed a Dota team right before what
Yeah, right before the
major or whatever it's called.
It's called the Invitational.
Yeah, the Invitational.
Yeah, we do that a lot, which is pretty funny.
So maybe there's something to do with that, or not sure. But I think it was what Chap and Vivid came over from Team Liquid.
I think so. Yeah, I know that a couple came over from Team Liquid. I'm not sure where a few of the other players came over. I mean, if C9 can make it work, they're doing this business decision for a reason. They're not just willy-nilly going like, bro, what if we got a Fortnite team again? Especially outside of our two like Brazilian players that we have already. So now we have 7 Fortnite players. But I think that there has to be some kind of event that's coming up that they're going to participate in or something. They're not doing this just because, I think.
I would hope not, but because they've also jumped into some other older stuff. They signed the former Splice Halo team along with Penguin for Halo, and I haven't really seen much about that either. But I assume there is a new console coming out.
I think it's Halo Infinity is coming out, or Halo Infinite is coming out, which is like the new one. And I think that the Halo, I forgot what the esports league is or whatever, but the Halo esports league I think is starting up a new season relatively soon, I think. And I think probably those two things coupled together are really what's getting us back into Halo. I'm honestly excited about the Halo thing. This is a blast from the past. I think for people that don't know, Ninja was actually a Cloud9 player, along with like Hysteria, and I think some other people that played for our Halo team. So some names that are actually pretty big in sort of the streaming and gaming kind of area. Ninja being like the biggest name probably ever, and he did play for us. So it's nice to see that our Halo team is coming back. And I honestly kind of like it because it kind of says that Cloud9 is a team that they don't really exit from a space. They just kind of put it on hold until something comes along that warrants kind of like, oh, hey, we can get back into this, kind of like with Halo and Dota. So it's really great. I'm actually honestly really excited. It's going to be really fun. The highlight footage that I saw looked super sick. And I think this is going to be a really worthwhile experience.
Oh yeah, definitely. I guess I'm excited about it. I never really actually played Halo because I've never owned an Xbox before, but I look forward to this happening. Going back into other types of games, so we have another signing.
Yeah, we signed Penguin to be our chess player, and I think it's really interesting that a lot of organizations are actually starting to sign these chess streamers now. It's really weird that somehow chess has blossomed into an esport. Yeah, I think it's really neat that probably one of the oldest strategy games in recorded human history is being taken to this new level of competitive and kind of financial area. So I think it's really cool. I actually watched a bit of his stream, and he I think particularly plays what's called bullet chess or ultra bullet chess, which in bullet chess is really interesting because like it's basically each player has a timer that's like 15 seconds, and you have to make sure your timer doesn't reach zero, because I think if your timer reaches zero, you lose. So you have to beat your opponent within this like 15-second window. So they're constantly just like making moves and stopping the timer. And as the timer goes down, their moves kind of become more frantic because you're having to think probably like at least 2 or 3 moves ahead, on top of you have to make that decision in like a split second so your timer doesn't run down and you lose automatically.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the rules are, but that does sound about right. But I do know that in normal chess, once you get to a certain amount of moves, then you get more time. So maybe it's something like that. But that sounds wild, because
it's pretty crazy.
At the subreddit right now, and then apparently he beat Magnus Carlsen in bullet chess once.
I think isn't he signed to TSM?
Magnus Carlsen?
Yeah, I know TSM has I remember TSM made like a chess signing, and then like a few weeks later we made ours.
I don't know, because Carlsen's the world championship, or the world champion. In chess.
That's pretty dope.
So I don't know if he's with TSM. I'd be very surprised. But he defended his title last year, and he's number 1 in the world right now. So I don't see any reference to TSM on his immediate.
Okay. I know TSM signed a chess player. It may not be them specifically.
He's 29.
Oh, he's a year older than me. Oh, that's crazy.
And he's a world grandmaster in chess.
Well, good for him.
Feels bad, man.
I am curious to see what if he's just going to be like streaming and stuff, or if there's actually going to be like events that he does participate in and can kind of actually like wear the jersey on stream against other people and win prize money and stuff. So that's going to be really interesting. A lot of these new endeavors that we're kind of getting into, I'm really wanting to try to keep my eye on, because I want to see them actually play.
Yeah, and I wonder if any of the growth of chess had to do, or like where it came from, because I know I saw a lot of the offline TV people playing chess. I'm not exactly sure where all of that grew from, though. So
I think it just kind of happened.
Yeah,
I think that like a lot of chess players started just streaming on Twitch, and then some of their funnier clips got onto Reddit, and then it kind of made it to a thing of like, oh, people play chess. Who knew? And then it just kind of became a whole thing, which I think is really neat.
Oh yeah, I watched quite a bit of it during the World Championship match. I think it was last year. Maybe it was the end of 2018 when Carlsen played in American, and it was super fun to watch. There were a ton of streamers live, like dissecting each move with like the computer like recommended moves and all that stuff. It was super cool. So cool to see. I'm going to have to tune in to watch him play his bullet chess.
Yeah, for sure. But moving on to other stuff, some CSGO news actually came in right before we started recording, and it was that CSGO, for their 4th slot, they have decided to retain Floppy. Floppy was a part of the ATK roster that we had signed maybe a year-ish ago. So Floppy retaining on the roster, I think that's good. Floppy is by far he was their best player, and I think to have him stay on the team, be able to continue to grow in probably with an elevated sort of set of competition, elevated skill set of players. I think that's really good for him. I'm really glad that he got to stay. This is probably also a really tough decision, because I think before he said that he was going to stay with OC and the rest of the team, to try to still make it work with them, going to somewhere else. But it probably he had a tough decision to make, and C9 probably reached out to him with an offer, and it was just too good to be true. So it's great that he's staying, and I'm really curious to see how we round out the team with our next two spots, because Henry, the GM did state that it's going to be a 6-man roster.
Yeah, and I wonder if Floppy's being signed as kind of that 6th man, because depending on where they play, some players could have difficulty getting in and out of countries depending on where tournaments are being played and the team's overall residency. So I don't know if that plays into it at all, but Floppy was their best player
I know
on the old roster.
I do know that I think for Flashpoint 2, it's going to be held in Europe. So C9's actually going to probably have to negotiate his work visa for Floppy to move to Europe to play with the team. But Floppy knows how to play. It will be interesting to see how the rest of the roster does shake out. I don't know exactly who else C9 could actually actively sign. I know some people have been saying stuff like JKS from 100 Thieves. A few other names are thrown out there, but I think I really want to see some more big signings just to kind of round out and ensure that this is a team that's going to go in. We're going to go hard, and we're going to crush everybody that we face just through sheer firepower alone. But it'll be really interesting. I haven't heard much on who could be that 5th and 6th spot, but I would assume that we would have our announcement within the next week or so. Flashpoint 2 does start in November, like a month from now, so they don't have a lot of time left to form a roster.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're just waiting to announce them or what, because they've been doing it really slow, and I have to imagine they have at least verbal agreements with the other players, but I guess we'll just have to kind of wait.
Yeah, you would think. The contract stuff is really weird. I know that at least for League of Legends, it's a thing of the roster move will get leaked literally 3 weeks or so before it's officially announced, and it could just be that you need contract approval and you need to go through a whole legal thing just to make sure everything's squared away before it can be official. But I'm really curious to see when and who we sign next. Like I said, I'm hoping for some good people. I'm really excited about this CS:GO team so far, and I really want to see them in action. I hate having to wait another month just to see them play.
Yeah, they will be fun to watch. Is that Flashpoint or Europe? You said, right?
Yeah. The next Flashpoint's going to be in it's all going to be held in Europe, I think, because most of the teams now are just in Europe. I think even some of the Brazilian teams, just due to the whole COVID situation, they just decided to stay in Europe, because they were at some event or something, and they're like, well, we can't really travel anywhere, and a lot of the other teams are already here, so we'll just stay in Europe. So that's kind of why I think it's being held in Europe for the most part.
Huh. Okay. No, well, that's good. As long as they can play without catching COVID.
Yeah. As long as they don't get sick, that's the important thing. I don't have anything else to say. Do you want to move on to our next bit of weird news, I guess?
Yes, please.
Well, I guess not weird, more of expected, but Cloud9, or I guess the London Spitfire specifically, announced that they've parted ways with all 4 of their coaches. All of them just gone. In the blink of an eye. Thanos snapped away from the organization.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I think it was kind of the expected news going on, because the rumor was that they were going to drop the whole roster.
Yeah. The rumor, the standing rumor was that they were pretty much just going to get rid of everybody again. Classic London Spitfire. I have like no news on what's actually going to happen with the roster. I haven't seen anything in terms of potential signings or rumors about like if it's just going to be the British Hurricanes getting moved up or what. But we've canned our whole coaching staff, and I think it's kind of expected. I think that with how the team really struggled to perform this split or this season, it's kind of to be expected. We really didn't look good even against some of the lower end Asian teams. I think we just didn't look like we were having any sort of improvement at all. I think at times we even looked just really passive and just not able to, looking like we were able to do anything. And I think that's partially, the coach's fault. That's developing strategy and everything, I think the biggest one is that Agape, he was one of our coaches from like the very start of the team when we brought over the GC Busan and Cloud9 Kongdu rosters. So for him to go is kind of interesting since he's been with the org for so long. Pavane and the other coaches, I really don't have any feelings for them. I know that Pavane used to be the New York Excelsior coach for a couple of seasons, but then he left because they kind of struggled, and also he didn't really like being the head coach. But it kind of says something when you move to maybe a less you're moving to another team and sort of the same issues maybe kind of crop up. So I'm not too surprised. Do you have any opinions on this?
Not really, because I still kind of feel like Overwatch League is dying. But
no, it certainly is, and
yeah.
I think partially this is why we're doing this move. Overwatch League is kind of struggling for viewership and to stay sort of in the cultural kind of know when they're having to compete with League of Legends. It seems to be one of the biggest competitive scenes, period. I mean, it's on the tongue of everybody all the time. I think CSGO, it's always active and everyone's participating in that. And then you have Valorant, who is coming up and looking to really kind of take control of a space of its own for its own competitive space. Meanwhile, Overwatch is doing nothing to try to really promote themselves and get people to really watch Overwatch League. Unless you were already a fan of Overwatch League when the league started, they're not really doing anything to try to bring in new viewership. So I think that what C9 is really looking for is to just downsize their Overwatch division. Just say like, look, instead of like signing all these big names and trying to get these breakout stars and try to cobble something together, we have the British Hurricanes. Yes, they're a contender squad, but they're literally like undefeated right now. They have not lost yet. I think they have now the highest win streak in Overwatch history at like 32 wins. And their thinking is probably, look, we'll just get our contenders players, we'll move them up to be a part of the main squad now. They can play out of Europe. We can get something out of engagement from the fans who have constantly been complaining and whining because, the team, boohoo, they're not European, so I can't vote. I can't cheer for them, even though that's stupid. So they can at least have something come out of it. But I'm not sure exactly what the Spitfire brand can even do, because I'm rambling, I know, but they have not even, when I said Overwatch doesn't promote things as a whole, the London Spitfire have not even like tried to do anything content wise. Like, I remember before the season started, they did some promo videos kind of displaying like, oh, well, here's our new players, and then nothing. And even like in season 2, we barely got any content. So it's just like we're having like less and less content from the team, from the league as a whole. It really does kind of feel like it's on its way out, and our downsizing is kind of evident of that.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a change of approach, and I have a feeling that's going to involve more European-based signings and a roster, especially since we let go of all of our Korean coaches. So it kind of was a matter of time until we let them go.
I think what's interesting though is I'm sorry to cut you off, but
oh no, I was going to change topic. So
okay, I was just gonna say really quick. I think it's interesting that if we do this whole European roster, I think it's kind of interesting considering we are one of 2 European teams, and there doesn't seem to be any signs of adding more European teams to have an actual European league. It's us and Paris. So it's weird that we're just now shipping over to maybe like, oh, well, we can have like a European team, and it's like, well, play. Who will we play? Play against what? It's just kind of silly, in that regard. But maybe we'll work it out. Maybe we'll have like a mixed roster. Who knows? Maybe we'll break the bank and just say, fuck it, and sign a bunch of super talented veteran players to try to like bring back the Spitfire glory, or we'll just move up the contenders roster. Who knows? But when it happens, we'll talk about it.
Yep, for sure. And while we're talking about contenders, we should definitely not talk about North America at Worlds.
Oh,
but
no.
There are plenty of other teams who are actually contenders.
And look, Team Liquid's kind of bouncing back. They got a few wins.
They got 1 win.
Okay.
Over. They beat G2.
They beat G2.
Game. Or there was one of like the Korean reactions on Reddit.
Oh, was there?
I actually kind of want to find it really fast.
I love the Korean and Chinese reactions to like Worlds, because they're always so funny. Like if their region's team like underperforms and they lose to like say like Liquid or FlyQuest like beat like their region's team, they are just the funniest and most like flamey people ever, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and there was something said about G2. Oh yeah, G2 really plays their own game. Whether they win or lose, they decide it themselves. It's true, because in their game they picked Rakan without Flash.
Oh, that is odd.
Yes, but let's look at this from a holistic viewpoint, I guess. We have 2 North American teams with 1 win each who are sitting at 3rd in their groups. That is Team Liquid and Machi Esports. Team Liquid is tied with Machi, and I think Machi would get the tiebreaker because they won their last game. But we are 1 week down at Worlds. TSM in their group of life esque kind of group is sitting at dead last with 0 wins.
That's which I have a lot to say about that. I'll let you finish up all the breakdowns, but
which
I have a lot
expected.
to say. I have a lot to say about that.
I have my entire pick'ems entirely correct at the moment. Besides FlyQuest and Unicorns of Love, I had them flipped. So that's the only thing wrong I have in pick'ems so far.
Yeah, mine are kind of messed up because so my thinking was, so I put Liquid and TSM getting out of groups, so I thought
massive mistake.
No, it's a huge mistake. I know. That's my own fault. But my thinking was like TL looked like really good in the play-ins, and they're kind of warmed up already. Clearly, surely they should be able to get out. And TSM, they were, they won North America. They seem to. And my whole thing with TSM is they've been to Worlds so many times, right? Like TSM and like Briggs and Double have done the song and dance so many times over. They shouldn't be making the same mistakes that they're making and floundering to get out of groups like always. But it seems that time and time again they do this, and it just kind of upsets me because it's like you've had this happen to you so much. Have you not learned anything from all of your experiences watching out of groups? Have you not thought to try to play any different? Have you not tried to like do anything to ensure that you lessen the chance of this happening? But it seems that they don't, and this always happens. But I was thinking TSM would get out, mostly because LGD didn't look good in play-ins, and when I was watching the European finals, Fnatic and G2 looked about the same, and they didn't really look that great. So to me, I was thinking like, oh well, Fnatic and G2 really kind of struggled throughout the European playoffs, there's there's honestly no way that they could that they could improve in this short amount of time in between.
Yeah, but let's also not forget that TSM also lost 5 out of 8 games against Golden Guardians in playoffs.
That's true.
So they just happened to win 3 of them in one series. But I could see Team Liquid getting out still, but TSM had to finish above.
They have to
Fnatic,
3-0, I
LGD,
think, to even have a shot. I think.
Or no, they have to 4-0 to get out.
Oh, that's
so
right.
They have to go 3-0 and win a tiebreaker. And I'm assuming there are chances that even if they won 3, that they might not make it out.
Mm.
But I'm not sure on that off the top of my head.
I could definitely see Liquid getting out. I think that it took them maybe a little bit to get their footing. I think if they can, they beat G2, which I think is a pretty important one actually.
I think the only thing that's key.
It's the only thing keeping
them afloat because they lost to Machi.
I think the Machi thing was more of. I think that.
Okay, before you say it, what is more of a fluke? Team Liquid beating G2 or Team Liquid losing to Machi?
Oh no.
Team Liquid beating G2.
I think it's going to be G2 is more of the fluke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you got me there. I was going to say that I think that Team Liquid maybe just didn't prep for Machi as much as G2 and Sunning because they probably expected to beat Machi and maybe they focused their prep on the other teams. That's my only realistic explanation. But now that they've faced Machi before and they have a bunch of matches they can watch, I would at least imagine they would be more prepared to take on Machi the second time around and maybe beat them.
I would hope so, and I would imagine that Team Liquid is going to finish 3rd in the group still.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening.
Is my guess. That would be my guess, but FlyQuest never really stood a chance. Top Esports and DRX are probably the favorite, and then the number 5th favorite for the whole thing coming in. And if you watch the Top Esports and DRX game, that was an absolute banger.
I think I maybe missed it, but I would not doubt it considering how strong those teams are.
Yeah, it was so much fun to watch. Jackie Love went completely off on Senna, and he makes Senna look broken as hell. It's crazy. But FlyQuest picked up a win against Unicorns of Love, which I guess is disappointing because I actually like the Unicorns of Love. But I guess I probably should have had a little more faith in FlyQuest to beat them because it's ruining on my perfect pick. I'm set at this point. But the other Group B, Damwon beat JDG in their matchup, which it was a really good game. Rogue never really stood a chance, and neither did PSG Talon.
I do have Group B right in my pick'ems. This Group B is going about as expected.
Yeah, I think like the night before the group started, I had JADG above Damwon, which still could happen, but I flipped it at the last second, and I guess I'm glad I did because I got it right. But I really like JADG, so I thought that China was going to come in and dominate the Worlds so far, but Korea's been pretty surprising. They are topping Group B and C, and second in Group D. And these are all groups out of with Chinese teams too. So it's not like they're just beating up TSM, Unicorns of Love, and Machi or something. So that they're winning
Yeah. All
yeah,
the wins are definitely convincing.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how sort of the playoffs, how the playoff bracket actually works out and who faces against who. I I'm kind of curious to see how like like Fnatic or G2 would measure up against one of these other one of these favorite how would they measure up against like Damwon or DRX? How would Fnatic really take on top esports, and would they even stand a chance? I think those matches will be really fun. Um, I think that in terms of how the playoff bracket kind of unfolds, I may not be too interested in the semifinals. It depends on who goes, but I think the final for sure should probably be some of the highest level of League of Legends that we'll probably get to see this year.
I think all of the playoffs will be a banger at this point. I think the most disappointing games would probably be if Team Liquid got out first.
Yeah, that's true.
Whomever or Fnatic, if they got stuck playing Damwon or JDG or Top Esports, I'm not sure that they would stand a chance. But G2 versus DRX or JDG or Gen G or LGD would be fun. Damwon versus Fnatic versus Suning versus I'm not sure what the playoff rule draws are, but
I'm not sure either.
yeah, like I'm not sure if teams from the same region can be drawn together or not, but I would imagine no.
I think the rule would probably be teams from the same group can't get drawn
That
together.
is for sure guaranteed.
I think that
they're put on opposites.
Yeah, I don't think there would be any
of the bracket.
I don't think there would be any rule against region playing region in the draw, but I would imagine that there would be a rule against teams from the same group playing each other.
Yeah, generally, at least in soccer, they can't draw a team from the same country in group in their first knockout round.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that would be the case here, unless Top Esports top their group and then all Chinese teams finish second.
Mm.
So that would maybe be the only situation.
Yeah, maybe
where that would happen, but I guess I don't know. I would have to look at the rules, but I'm just excited to see how far we can go until Top Esports plays off against Damwon or JDG again.
Yeah. We'll have
JDG,
to see.
I think they played each other in spring and summer finals, and Top Esports I think won in Game 5 in the summer. So they're really close.
Yeah, I haven't paid much to that side of the world, but I imagine those matches will be good.
Yeah,
I don't know if you do you want to talk a little bit about the Riot's recent decision with the OPL?
Oh,
I think we can fit that in.
Topical. Today, Riot is shutting down the Oceanic League.
Yeah, it's I think it's kind of sad. I think that Oceania is one of those regions it's small, but they have a pretty dedicated fan base. I think honestly, I think all the minor regions do. I think it's really sad that the OPL is folding. I think they also announced that anyone from the OPL is sort of grandfathered into NA residency. So anyone who played in the OPL can play in NA without taking up an import slot, which I think is really interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how that affects the off season. But I think it's really sad. You have a lot of people that are basically out of jobs for at least for the moment. And I'm kind of curious to see what'll happen and how players and casters from that region recover. I think it really sucks, and it was something that at least I wasn't expecting. Maybe people from the OPL were kind of expecting it, maybe considering they had lower viewership or something. But it's definitely not good news.
Yeah, it did like it was kind of an inevitable based on what Red said, but talent-wise, they were definitely not all there. But their caster talent was probably the best in the world. Papa Smithy, I think Frostgaren maybe there were quite a few
No,
who
there's
ended up in
Pastry
Southeast
Time
Asia.
was
Pastry Time.
Pastry Time was from Oceania. Rusty, I think, is also from there.
Yeah.
A lot of really nice personalities from there. A lot, and a lot of players, like Fudge is from there.
King.
King is from there, but he's kind of
Tomo?
trapped. He's kind of
Yeah.
no Toma's from here. The whole thing
okay.
was King
Oh,
can't
yeah.
King can't come here because Australia won't give him a visa.
Yeah. Okay.
so he's trapped.
Yeah, but that there's also what Lost and
Lost.
one other ADC or bot lane player,
I can't
think.
remember.
Yeah, me neither.
I can't remember.
It'll make some rosters interesting because if their host player won't count as a
I think that
as an import. So gold and guardians could get a Korean or European for a mid or top lane.
Yeah, I think that people like Fudge and I think King as well. If he can somehow get out of Australia, their stock I think has gone up incredibly since this decision. Now everyone will want to get Fudge because Fudge is not only good and LCS ready, but now you don't have to worry about import slots. So it's we're getting a big foreign talent basically for free. Yes, I'll pay however much you need, Mr. Cloud9. Here's the check. And I think that I think it'll be really interesting what happens to players like that. I'm kind of hoping that we keep Fudge, just because I think that with how our performance was in summer, I think we definitely need players like Fudge and Palafox to kind of sit in academy as kind of sort of a threat to the players and be like, look, if you underperform like this again, we'll bench you and we'll swap you out for someone who can probably play more how we need to. So I think that that's really important, and I think we need to keep some players on at least for that. But we'll see. It's going to be a really interesting offseason now, especially with us. I think we still haven't signed or announced who our head coach will be, so there's still a lot of time to ruminate.
Yeah, we got a lot of time until we have to worry about that. I think the spring split will probably start in February or something, and is the beginning of October. So we got October, November, December, January, February, 4 months.
Yeah,
so
we got a while.
Nothing but time, unfortunately. Those are the joys of not making it to Worlds.
Now I know what all the other teams feel like, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's fucking awful. Watching FlyQuest almost drop a game to Yoon at Corns of Love. Team Liquid dropping to Machi. It's stupid, but we deserve it.
I will ask you, what do you feel about some people saying that C9 it would be better if C9 had gone to Worlds over one of the other North American teams? I disagree.
We didn't deserve it, so
no, yeah, we don't. I don't. With how he played in the summer, I don't think we really deserve a spot. So
would we have done better than FlyQuest in Group D? No.
I really don't think so.
Would we have done better than Team Liquid in Group A? Maybe. Or we'd maybe be at 2-1.
I think that for me personally, I think with how we played in the summer and all of our interpersonal issues within the team, and how we were practicing and everything, and sort of running our team off stage, I think that we'd probably have done just as poorly as TSM have. I think, given just how we had performed and everything, I don't think we would have had much of an increased chance to do any better than any of the other NA teams at Worlds. But that's my opinion.
I think that we would have done better than TSM in Group C, but at the end of the day was we didn't earn it or deserve it. So
yeah, that's totally true. I think that if we deserved to go, we would have gotten a spot, and I think that us not getting it is indicative of that.
yeah, exactly. So and there's no point in ifs, ands, or buts because North America always sucks at Worlds. So it's not like Cloud9 being there would have.
Yeah, it wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, exactly. So that's I guess all I have to say about that at this point.
All right. Well, I don't think we have anything else. So thanks for listening. As always, follow us at C9 Bodied. And tune in next time. Hopefully we'll have some more news.
Yep. Go Unicorns of Love and JDG. Bye, guys.